What's up, design family, and welcome back to another episode of Fittdesign TV. So glad to have you back on the channel. On today's episode, we'll be looking at and answering the age-old question for young designers. Do I actually have to attend a professional and an accredited design school in order to pursue design in my career? Well, this is a question I can personally answer. I've mentioned this a couple times on the channel, but what I went to school for is not necessarily what I'm actually doing in my day-to-day career. I'm a sportswear designer, but I studied at the University of Southern California and I studied architecture. Ultimately, moving from an accredited program into a career that was 100% totally not related did not hinder me in the least. And on this episode, I'm going to be answering the question, if I want to be a professional designer, whether you're looking to design logos or you're looking to design fashion or websites, do you actually have to go to a school or a university in order to pursue this? I think most of you know the answer, but in this episode, I'm going to unpack not only the fact that you don't need to go to a university. So if you're waiting for the too long dinner read, yes, you don't need to go to university to ultimately pursue a professional career in design. But stick around for the rest of the episode and I'll go into depth in terms of why you don't have to, what are the pros and cons if you do choose to attend a professional school, and ultimately how you can give yourself the best opportunity to self-teach and ultimately to move into the career of your choice on your own terms. What's up, design family, and welcome to Fittdesign TV. So glad to have you here. On this channel, we discuss all things sports fashion, graphic design, manufacturing, and technology. We'll discuss key topics, answer pressing questions, and provide actionable steps on starting your own product line. If you're interested in any of the above topics, stick around. You're in for a good one. Shadi, do I need to attend design school in order to become a fashion designer, logo designer, or insert any other designer name into here? And honestly, this is a question that when I get asked, I feel like most people are almost asking this question because they're looking for a reason not to pursue something. Typically, these are people that have not immersed themselves into the formal education of a career that they're interested in. They're looking to become branding designers, but they haven't attended school and they haven't actually dove into the world of design. And most people use this as a crutch. They say, I cannot attend or I cannot pursue a career or my passion in this field because honestly, I haven't gone to school for this. It's such a limited way of thinking. And honestly, with the democratization of all of the educational tools that are at our fingertips, no one has a single excuse not to pursue something they're interested in. So number one, eliminate all excuses. If you're someone who thinks that in order to become XYZ, you need to have formal education in XYZ, you're wrong, unless you're trying to become a certified accountant or a lawyer. This is simply not true. Now, let's actually look at some of the pros if you do actually choose to attend design school. And this is coming from someone that did attend design school, albeit for something completely different. I attended design school for architecture, but here are some of the benefits that I definitely received from attending a formal education and actually pursuing that career or that program. Number one is you're assigned amazing teachers depending on which university you go for. And honestly, to this day, the single person that had made such a strong impact in terms of how I think about design, how I approach design-based problems, and ultimately how I execute them has been my third-year teacher at the University of Southern California. And to this day, every single decision that I make is influenced by that teacher's way of doing things, the way that they guided me, and ultimately a lot of the processes that they taught me along the way. Such a pleasure and it was such a privilege to be able to be under the wing of such talented teachers. And this is what attending a great academic institution can do for you. It can put you into touch with teachers that are at the top of their game, they're top of their fields. And honestly, if it's one of the best institutions, typically these teachers will also have their own practices. My specific teacher, and specifically this teacher in question, had their own architectural practice. So they're speaking from a place of confidence and actually having done it, as opposed to just trying to teach something without a practical implementation of this. Number two is you also learn the importance of working with deadlines. This is something that I see a lot of designers drop the ball on. Business is deadlines. When you give your word to someone, you actually have to stick to that deadline. And when you're working in an accredited institution, an institution that is giving you projects and is expecting you to have those deliverables within a certain time frame, you learn the importance of deadlines. If you don't meet those deadlines, you fail the course. And ultimately, the same is true in the business world. If you consistently don't hit your deadlines, you're going to lose the client, you're going to lose the account. So attending university does give you an importance and actually puts you in the frame set of saying, once I have to finish this project, this is the due date, I actually need to stick to my guns and I need to make sure the project is done at all costs. Number 3 is you learn the importance of showing up for yourself. What does this mean? When you're put into a program and you have to deliver and you have to execute on a project, you'll learn that no one else is coming to help you but yourself, right? Your students or your fellow students are not going to help you. Your teacher is not going to do the work for you. Your mom and dad aren't going to do the work for you. Ultimately, when you have a task, you have to execute and deliver on it. And lastly, and most importantly, especially in a university setting, and especially a university of a certain caliber, you are able to meet and interact with amazing people, like-minded people, that are one day going to be at the tops of their respective industries. To this day, a lot of the contacts that I've made at my university and from those days have been contacts that have opened tremendous doors for me, and they will continue to open doors for me as I progress in my own career and as I build up my own portfolio. And now the flip side, the moment you guys are most likely waiting for, the reason that you probably shouldn't attend design school and why you don't need to attend design school. What are some of the pros of actually not attending design school? Well, number 1 and most obviously is you can save a tremendous amount of money. And where the average tuition cost in the United States is $26,000 a year to attend any sort of university. We're not even talking about the top universities. That can even be double. Really, you're going to save a lot of money by having a simple Skillshare account where it only costs you $10 a month and you have this wealth of knowledge at your fingertips. And even more, you can go on YouTube, you can go on a ton of other platforms to immediately and quickly learn. You're just going to save a lot of money and you're not going to put yourself in unnecessary debt and find yourself at a disadvantage when you get out of college and you find yourself needing to take XYZ full-time jobs that are going to limit your time, limit your opportunities, and are going to drain you of your resources to fill or to repay that debt. Next up, one of the biggest advantages, in my opinion, of actually not attending university and choosing to self-learn is you can be hyper-focused and hyper-specific in terms of which niche and which areas of design that you're interested in. I know for me personally, I was interested specifically in fashion design, sportswear design, textile design. I also was extremely interested in the technical aspects of these things. So I seeked the knowledge in those areas specifically, as opposed to having to attend a generalized university course, which probably 90% of the things that they were teaching were not going to be applicable in the specific career path that I wanted to take. Also, one of the beautiful parts of learning and self-teaching is that you almost feel this sense of guidance. As you begin to uncover the different parts of things that you're learning and implementing them directly into your day-to-day, you start to see, okay, I need to focus more on this area and I need to focus less on this area. You're able to continuously tailor the program that you're working on specifically to your use case scenario. This is definitely something that you can't do in an accredited program where from start to finish, pretty much the 5 years or the 4 years that you're there, you're ordained or you have to follow a very specific set of courses and a very specific course plan. And last but not least, it all comes down to the fact that you get to call your own shots when it comes to how you learn. You get to learn at your own pace. Let's just say you need to hold down a part-time job. You don't have the inflexibility of having to attend courses at times XYZ. You're able to do what you need to do in your personal life and ultimately fit in the time that you need to actually self-learn, self-teach, and to keep moving the needle forward. This is an unparalleled flexibility which, when you're starting your career and you're looking to move into an entrepreneurial state of mind, you're giving yourself the flexibility you need to actually stack your day in the way that's going to give you the highest ROI, as opposed to being forced into situations where, again, you're learning things that you don't need to learn and you're having to attend classes simply for the attendance points. Ultimately, the decision of whether or not you should enroll in design school or not comes down to your mindset, comes down to your own personal will in the way that you actually choose to live your life. For those of you who have the self-discipline and who have the ability to plot a path forward and to stick to it, choosing to go your own path and choosing to not go for design school may be the best option. It's going to save you so much time, money, resources. Ultimately, all of that you can divert into a self-educational path, and you can learn by doing. You can learn by building your portfolio and building your client relations. When it came to my sportswear design experience, I did study 5 years of architecture, but honestly, all of that was to no avail in this specific career. Yes, I had to go from point A to get to point B, but I can't say definitively that attending design school helped me in terms of what I'm actually doing on a day-to-day basis today. Really, I learned from getting into the weeds, going into the trenches and coming out the other side, whether with scars or with not. I was able to actually go through the trials and tribulations, learn by doing, learn by connecting with people and building up my portfolio brick by brick. Guys, hopefully you enjoyed this video and hopefully it's given you a little bit more clarity in terms of what decision you should take. Ultimately, the decision is yours, and whatever decision you choose to make, go at it with a sense of fulfillment and just complete energy and focus. Neither option is right or wrong. Ultimately, it depends on your specific scenario. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of Fittdesign TV. If you guys enjoyed this type of content, please consider smashing a massive thumbs up. It really does help us out and it keeps us motivated to keep pumping out this content for you. Thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of Fittdesign TV. Until next week's episode, stay awesome.